Welcome to the June 2014 edition of the Volunteer Match Solutions Best Practice Network webinar series. This is Lessons from the Field, Unique and Innovative Strategies for Increasing Engagement. My name is Laura Ellis. I'm a Client Relations Manager here at Volunteer Match, and I'll be helping to facilitate today's session. Just a few housekeeping items here. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to type them into the questions box. We'll be going over those at the end of the session. If you want to follow along and tweet with us, feel free to write and tweet into VM_solutions using hashtag VMVPN. So we'll be going through all of those questions at the end. Feel free to type in comments, any questions you have for the presenters, any questions you have for Volunteer Match. And shortly after the presentation's over, we'll have a copy of the slides that will be circulated. Great. So today we're going to be talking about innovative and unique ways to re-engage your employees. We're joined today by our expert panel of CSR leaders. We have Doretha Graham-Easler from NV Energy, Lauren Keeler from Apollo Education Group, and Samantha Lucas from Allina Health. So ladies, if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, that would be great. Doretha, you want to start us off?
Yes. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Doretha Easler. I am the Community Relations Manager for NV Energy. And NV Energy is a public utility that provides a wide range of energy services to 1.3 million customers. And in that total, we make sure we include the millions of tourists that vacation here every year. We do have a strong commitment to engage our employees in community service. Part of that effort is to make sure that we are in constant contact with them. We provide financial resources to the local community through sponsorship, our employee volunteers, including our employees serving on nonprofit boards. NV Energy has a strong commitment to the community. We have an employee volunteer council, which is comprised of about 12 employees that reside at various locations throughout the company. We launched Volunteer Match in 2008 to help us track opportunities as well as give employees another resource to look for opportunities. We started in 2008. On the slide, I know it says 2009, but we didn't have much of a track record in tracking hours, so the tracking did start in 2009. We have about 2,800 employees throughout the state, southern and northern Nevada, comprised of union and non-union employees. And last year, we were very excited. We logged 45,209 hours.
Hi, everybody. This is Lauren Keeler. I'm the Director of Community Engagement at Apollo Education Group. We are a private education provider that has been doing business since 1973. Our most well-known brand probably being University of Phoenix. And we are all about giving back and supporting the community as part of our improving society is a core value of ours. So it's really important to us as a business. And to make that formal and really kick things off, we launched our volunteer program in 2006. But it's really taken off in the years since then. In 2006, I think we saw under 5,000 hours logged, and everything was kind of all over the place. But since then, we've really built a strategy around supporting education, career readiness, and sustainability initiatives, and we saw, I believe, over 50,000 hours logged last year. So it's really become a critical part of our business. I'm happy to be here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Samantha Lucas. I'm the Program Coordinator of Community Benefit at Allina Health. And Allina Health is a not-for-profit network of hospitals, clinics, and other healthcare services dedicated to meeting the lifelong healthcare needs of the communities we serve throughout Minnesota and western Wisconsin. We offer a full range of primary and specialty care services, including technologically advanced inpatient and outpatient care facilities, 24-hour emergency care, medical transportation, pharmacy, and home and community services. We have more than 26,000 employees, 5,000 associated in employed positions and more than 4,000 volunteers that share a common mission to deliver exceptional health care and support services to the people in our communities, putting the patient first in everything we do. Our Mission Matters is our employee volunteerism program that offers resources and rewards to employees who share their time and talents with their community. Through a partnership with Volunteer Match, Allina Health offers employees an easy way to connect with their volunteer opportunities that they feel passionate about. We launched the program in May of 2011 with a goal of getting 5% of our employees registered, and we surpassed that goal by the end of the year, having 35% of our employees active. We now have over 12,000 active employees, which is around 48%, and last year our employees logged more than 100,000 volunteer hours.
Great, thank you so much, ladies. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We noticed that as we started planning for the session and started brainstorming that there were really three major themes that were appearing. So what we're going to do is each presenter will be speaking a little bit about their program, their experiences, and their expertise on these three major topics. So the first tip that we have here is about planning fun projects to engage employees, shaking up your current volunteer activities with a unique, enjoyable event. So Samantha, do you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yep. So at Allina Health, we care about improving the health of our communities that we serve not only in the medical setting, but wherever people live, learn, and work. So we created spotlight volunteer events to engage our employees and community members with a focus on improving the health of the recipients. These events provide a tangible benefit to the people in need who rely on community organizations for basic support, whether it's providing a new or gently used bike so that a kid can experience being a kid while getting exercise, a healthy food pack for a family of 4 who relies on community support to eat, or a new pair of athletic shoes so that a child can run, play, and go to school with pride. Spotlight events are matching resources with community needs in all the communities Allina Health serves. These events have worked for us because they're easy for people to show up and just volunteer. We basically call them an event in a truck because they're located system-wide at every site. So they include, and it makes communication really easy because they're all on the same day at the same time at all of our locations. They're supported by our executive leadership team, and employees are encouraged to bring family and friends. So when employees bring their family and friends, they're more likely to volunteer. It also helps being at multiple sites because they can either volunteer at the site that they work at or they can volunteer at the site that they're close to their home. So it not only strengthens the relationships between the employees, but it also exposes them to other departments and services that Allina Health provides. Excuse me. So for our healthy meal packing event, what we did is we packed and fed more than 200,000 people. This event brought out 1,800 volunteers, and we partnered with 75 community organizations. For Free Bikes for Kids, we partner with Free Bikes for Kids to collect 5,000 bikes from our community at our locations. We then donate those bikes and bring them to the Free Bikes for Kids warehouse where they are refurbished, and then we donate those back to the communities, to children and families in need in the communities that they were collected in. For our New Shoes Healthy Kids event, we purchased 10,000 pairs of new athletic shoes and reached out to our local nonprofits and matched those shoes to kids in need. That brought around 1,300 volunteers, and we worked with 150 nonprofit organizations. Next slide. We also have so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Minnesota. It is very, very cold in the winter here. So during the summer and spring, a lot of people like to get outside, so there are thousands of charitable walks, runs, and bicycle rides that take place. And what we did is we created a program that gives a charitable contribution to the benefiting nonprofit of the organization that's holding the event based on the number of Allina Health employees that participate. So this is getting employees active in the community, and then we give the donation, charitable contribution to the nonprofit. So it starts out with if we have 5 employees, the nonprofit of that event will get $250, and it goes up to 400 employees for $5,000. So in 2013, we had nearly 2,000 employees participate in this, leveraging an additional 26,000 in charitable contributions to benefiting nonprofit organizations. We also allow employees to log 1 hour for each event that they participate in towards their box or towards their Dollars for Doers reward.
Great, thanks, Samantha. I love how this is such events that are really strongly aligned with your brand and the idea of health and being active and healthy.
Yes.
Great. Teresa?
Okay. When we first started using the tool Volunteer Match, it was very difficult to get employees to get engaged and start tracking their hours. So we had to back up a little bit and do a survey to try to determine what types of activities appeal to our employees and their family members. And also at the same time, we wanted to create a partnership with local organizations and to have some opportunities that also appeal to employees that work various shifts, our call center employees, and field employees. And listed here are some of our signature events. The first one is our Senior Energy Assistance Expo. It has a business focus. It's an opportunity where we invite seniors to come down and get assistance with their utility bill. They can find out what other programs are available in the community, and they can also take advantage of some of the programs that the Energy has to help them manage their energy costs. So that one has a business focus, but it's done like on a Saturday in August, and we have over 200 employees who volunteered to support the event. On the screen there, you can see a picture of the employees that volunteered at last year's event. And then the next one is our United Way Golf Tournament. It's an opportunity for teams of employees to get together and have fun playing golf at the same time raising money for United Way. Rather than doing a lot of, small fundraising activities for United Way, we're able to make a big contribution with this particular one. This year we raised about $16,000. And then we have department team projects. This one really took off this year, and I'll talk about this a little bit later with our volunteer challenge. We had departments that would come together as a team to work together outside of the office. I've had employees come to me and say it was a great opportunity to get to know their coworker in a different environment. Some of the things that they did was a canned art contest. This one was for our call center. Since they are very limited in what they can do during the day, it was easy for them to collect cans of food and create art. The art was judged. And then once the contest was over, the food was delivered to a local food bank. So they felt that they were making a contribution to the community. In addition, we had a motorcycle poker run because we know that a lot of our field service people like to ride on the weekends. So we combined that with volunteerism by collecting money for participants to ride in the motorcycle poker run. And 50% of the proceeds was donated to a charity of the winner's choice. And then last but not least, going back to making the time and trying to appeal to everyone, Toys for Smiles. That's an organization that makes wooden toys for kids that are disadvantaged or may not get a toy at Christmas. So they brought their toy shop to the company, and employees came down on their lunch hour and they actually put the toys together. And then last but not least, the MLK Service Project. Our employees make that, typically we have a day off, but our employees make that a day on. They give up about 4 hours of their time to fill backpacks with what they call kid-friendly food. for students in the Clark County School District who are on free and reduced lunch and may not have a meal over the weekend. And this year we packed about 3,800 backpacks.
Thanks, Teresa. I love how many unique projects you have. These are things I've just never even heard of, and it obviously is plain to see interest of your employees. Lauren, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So I have a couple of things that I was going to talk to you guys about. The first one is the new virtual mentoring program that we're trying out. For the last few years, we've had a really solid reading program where employees will go out to a local school and read one-on-one with the same student every week for a whole school year. But, you know, in the last few years, it's become harder and harder for employees to get that time out of the office when you factor in driving to the school and back and then an hour of reading with your student. It was just a lot of time, and so we saw a little bit of a decline in participation. And we were presented with the opportunity to get on board with a new virtual mentoring program. And we were curious to try it out and see if that really made a difference. So with our focus on education, it really was well aligned. And so the program is set up, it's a one-to-one reading program, just like our in-person program was, but you're doing it from your office, which is pretty cool. So once a week, I call a classroom phone number. I fire up the website on my computer, and a little second grade administrative assistant answers the phone and puts me in touch with my student, and we both sit down, and I control the screen, and we read together. It's been great. We've seen a ton of interest, and so many people have said, you know, I was participating in the one-to-one reading program before, but I just couldn't get out of the office anymore, and being able to do this from my desk and have it be flexible has been so helpful. It really has removed the transportation barrier. Like I said, people carpool, it was difficult. And now it's something you can do right in your office, at your cubicle, anywhere that works for you. You just have to be in front of a phone and a computer. It still weaves in the in-person factor because we were a little bit nervous about losing that connection with your students. And they factor in events throughout the year where you can go and meet your student one-on-one and talk to them and get to know them. So it really does feel, it still feels like you have that one-to-one in-person connection and you can put a face to a name. And it has proven to be really simple to engage our employees in the organization we work with. Really makes it easy, and you know, there's no technology required. You go online to a website, and we've seen such a high interest because our employees are always looking for things that they can do without having to leave the office. You know, just based on schedules, and honestly, especially in Phoenix, it's 110 degrees outside. No one wants to leave and walk their car. So it's proven to be really successful for us. And then the other thing we recently started, we found that there was a business need. In-kind scholarships are a huge component of our giving as an organization. We give away quite a few of them every year. And so we decided that our scholarship team was spending all this time recruiting people from the organizations that we were giving the scholarships to serve on selection committees, and just using the same group every time. We thought it would be cool to offer this opportunity to our employees. So fast forward 6 months, and here we are today. We recruit hundreds of volunteers, you know, at least 100 to 200 every month to recruit or to participate in scholarship selection committees. So we found, like I said, a need that we have in the business, and thought that it might be, you know, maybe our employees would want to see this side of what we do and get involved and feel like they had a personal involvement and a say in where our scholarships go, and it has been so successful. It really is flexible and works with employee schedules. You know, there's a 4-week window. Everybody can do it from home. They can come in 10 minutes early and do it from their desk in the morning. You can do it for 15 minutes every day for 4 weeks and finish. So it's really, really flexible, and it works for so many employees. It's a great foot-in-the-door opportunity. We say I see so many names in Volunteer Match signing up for this project that I've never seen before. They're not the regulars. There's the people that wouldn't usually get up and go to a volunteer project because it's just it's not their thing or they don't do it or it's uncomfortable for them, but this is a great way to kind of dip your toe in the volunteering pool and get to know what we do in corporate social responsibility and what our organization is all about. And it really engages our employees in another side of the university that they don't always see. So it's been really great.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I love that you are utilizing the volunteering, or I'm sorry, the virtual mentoring. I feel like virtual is just such an aspect that people sometimes forget to include. Great. So our second tip is on utilizing volunteer champions to promote and help facilitate your program. So many of you are from large companies, and it can be difficult to organize thousands of people. So our CSR leaders have some ideas on how distributing these tasks at your day-to-day job can help. Lauren, you want to go ahead and start us off?
Sure. We have a couple of things. So the first thing that we started a few years ago is what we call the Ambassadors Network. I assume that a lot of you are like me and your department is probably just you or you and a couple of other people. And, you know, we have offices all over the country, over 12,000 employees. I could not do it alone. And so there's a really large concentration of employees in our headquarters city in Phoenix. And a lot of major departments are here. And so I realized that in order to be effective, I needed to recruit some other people to help me out. So we created the Ambassadors Network. It's a group of individuals representing most of the major departments here in Phoenix. And they really are my eyes and ears. We have a monthly update call where I talk to them about new policies, anything coming up, any changes we have, any trends. They share, you know, best practices as far as cool things that they've seen within their departments. They help me brainstorm for initiatives. They help me get the word out. So it's been really great. You know, I've found it to be so effective because I can send a communication out to everyone in Phoenix, but if someone with a name that you recognize and someone that is in your department asks you personally to get involved, I think it makes all the difference. I know we hear all the time that the number one reason people don't volunteer is because nobody asked them. So it's putting a personal face to our volunteer program and getting kind of localized and really exciting people from the ground up. And it's a great way to get feedback on what's going on and the culture within our organization. You know, that's where I find out about things like people saying that it's difficult to get out of the office to go volunteer. People saying that they prefer one type of activity over another. So it's really been so beneficial for idea sharing and really encouraging the support of our program. And the other thing we have is what we call unofficially our super volunteers. You know, I know that it can be tough sometimes to get people engaged, and so we really like to recognize the folks that are always our champions and are always so supportive. So I keep a running list of really accountable, dedicated volunteers that I know can take the lead on things, can be a project leader if I'm unable to be at something. They're the people that always show up, go above and beyond, and we really try to make them feel special because that way they continue to come back and continue to be an advocate and invite their friends and family to participate with us. So we try to recognize them regularly with a variety of interesting things, but the group generally gets early access to special opportunities. We have a few things every year that fill up within 10 or 15 minutes, and this group is always the first to know when those things are coming up. We come to them with last-minute opportunities, and it's really how you word things. You know, when we have something that comes up last minute, we let them know that we're coming to them because we know we can count on them and because we need them, and you know, we know that they're so dedicated and we're really appreciative, and that has made all the difference. Those people will do just about anything for us now at this point, and we really built a relationship with them by making them feel like they are crucial to our success. I mean, it's been really, really great.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. I love this idea that your volunteer products are so popular that people are granted first dibs, essentially. It just shows how innovative and popular your projects are.
So our volunteer champions have been very instrumental in the success of our Mission Matters program. The volunteer champion is an employee or a team of employees based on the size. Obviously, at our smaller clinics, we only have one. At a large hospital, we have a team of employees that's located at the site at every single location. So their role is to encourage and promote system-wide and site-based activities that encourage and provide an opportunity for staff to engage in volunteering. And they really assist us in the creating of a culture within Allina where employees feel supported in the work they do outside of our walls. The key responsibilities of the volunteer champion is just to be a resource for other employees and answer any questions that they may have. They encourage staff to participate and log their volunteer hours. They champion volunteer activities locally, so if they decide that as a site they want to do a clothing drive or a food drive, we work with them to help them create the flyers, and then they champion it. They also meet with new employees to tell them about the program and help them sign up and help them pick out activities or log their hours. And we ask for a time commitment of like 1 to 3 hours per month, but it varies by location and the team size.
Great, thank you, Samantha. Teresa, you want to go ahead?
Sure. We call our leaders project leaders. And last year we had about 35 employees that were trained to be project leaders. And these are individuals who are go-getters. I can't tell you how often they come to me prior to the event asking, you know, are we going to support this? And I'm ready to be a lead. We have a lot of people here like that. Going back to what I said earlier, we do try to make sure we develop partnerships in the community as part of our employee volunteer program, and we partnered with the Volunteer Center of Southern Nevada to provide training to those project leaders, and that included everything from how to recruit volunteers, how to manage them, communication tools, all the things they needed to support themselves as they were leading the project. Because a lot of times employees don't step up and help out because they feel a little awkward that they may not be able to lead a project, but the training helped to remove some of those barriers. And their role was basically the same as the others, to serve as a contact person for all volunteers who were interested in the project, serve as a resource for the volunteers to answer any questions that they may have. And then also we found it helpful that they were able to have a checkoff list to sign in volunteers so we know who showed up for that day, so that we knew who to thank after the project. And they were very instrumental in providing feedback on the project. If it was something that they felt that NV Energy should not be involved in for whatever reason, they brought those things back, those concerns. So that's very important to the program. And we do have a very small team here at NV Energy and Community Relations, so the project leaders support what we do, and they enable us to expand opportunities. And then in the same instance, they're able to learn a little bit more about the community. They're less apprehensive to get involved. And they also develop leadership and project management skills, and communication skills. And I've heard a lot of employees say they had an opportunity to meet new people from various departments that they wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet had they not been in that role.
Great. Thank you, Teresa. I think it's wonderful that you've taken a volunteer match tool and expanded that to a program role. So our next step here is on the use of rewards and incentives to engage your employees. Here at Volunteer Match, we hear lots of great ideas about recognition programs and how successful they can be. Teresa, do you want to tell us a little bit about incentives at NV Energy?
Sure. We have what's called a quarterly volunteer match drawing. we draw the names of one individual to receive a $50 award. They can go out to the site that we have developed to select any prize that they want. And that goes over pretty well. In addition to being selected, that person is also highlighted in employee communications, and that's once a quarter. We're using Volunteer Match to track dollars for doers. If an employee volunteers 25 hours or more, they log those hours in Volunteer Match. When they reach that threshold, we get an email message that that employee has reached that threshold. Then we request a $250 donation to the organization they volunteer their time with. The Volunteer Challenge is something new that we just created over the past 2 years, and it is company-wide, and it has created a lot of buzz among employees and our leaders about the community and about volunteerism. It's a friendly competition that pits teams within the company against each other. We have the teams set up by division, and the team that earns the most hours between January 1 and December 31st becomes the winner of the challenge. We have a first, second, and third place winner. The first place winner gets $2,000 donated to the nonprofit of their choice. Second place winner, $1,000, and the third place winner, $500 to the nonprofit of their choice. We couldn't do a lot of this without promoting it through our corporate communications department. We have several publications that we use to highlight and tell our story about the different things that we're being involved in. One of them is called the Daily Juice. It's an email communication to all employees. And then at the bottom of the screen, you can see the juice. That's a printed copy of that highlights different things that Indie Energy is doing in the community. And then we have an annual community report, and I think that's very important that we share the results, not only with our employees, but with the community at large, the impact that we're making in the community. And of course, we're always tweeting and putting information out on Facebook. And then each year, our Employee Volunteer Council helps community relations to host our annual volunteer recognition lunch, where we focus on employees who have given their time to make a difference in the community. We place special emphasis on our project leaders, our Employee Volunteer Council members who have gone above and beyond to support our employee volunteer program.
That's amazing. Thank you, Teresa. I just love the idea of the collection. Lauren, you want to go ahead?
Absolutely. So a couple of ways that we recognize our employees. We try really hard to, as best we can and as often as we can, really leverage our unique partnerships, whether that's with a sports team, an art organization, to really provide some cool opportunities for our exceptional volunteers. One of those is through our partnership with the Arizona Diamondbacks in Phoenix, and we leverage that relationship to send 5 employee volunteers to every Friday home game throughout the season. And then their names are showcased in the community clubhouse, and it really makes our employees feel really special. And it's something that we were fortunate enough to be able to weave into our relationship with the Diamondbacks and get some community impact out of that partnership. We use it, we call it a thank you rather than an incentive, because instead of saying log a volunteer hour and you'll be entered to win, that kind of thing, and we kind of do it almost quietly on the back end, and our employees are, the emails I get every week after they've been to a game are so thankful and so grateful that they've been asked to participate, and that they've been recognized by the company, and those people become lifelong advocates for us, and they tell their friends to get involved, and I really think it just creates a positive experience for them that they're really surprised to receive. So that's one way that we get them recognized. Another cool thing that we just started this year, we have a new, HR has a new internal recognition system for all kinds of things across the company. But as part of that, we created what we're calling the CSR Champion Program. Like I mentioned, we in the last few years have really shifted our focus, and we have a really narrow strategy now around supporting education and career readiness initiatives. So we wanted to think of a way to recognize employees who are really helping us to drive that strategy forward. So we created this program, and it's a peer nomination process. So employees can nominate themselves or others, and we select 5 honorees each month that are highlighted on internal communications. They receive a little bit of points through this recognition system that we use. And we really built it up to have it be seen as an honor by leadership. The people that we select, I send a communication to their boss, but not only their boss, their VP within their department, and let them know that they have a stellar employee and a real advocate for giving back in the community within their department, and we get lots of great feedback on this. And it really, one of my favorite stories from this program is we selected a recipient, and it was an employee who had done a lot of great things to support our nonprofit partners, and we recognized her, and she communicated with me. She responded to me and said, I was so surprised to receive this, and it's such an honor, and I have to tell you, I'm generally one of those people that asks for forgiveness and kind of does whatever I want, and I don't necessarily always follow strategy, but I mean, she's like, now I feel like, since I've been recognized as a champion, it's really, she really felt a sense of responsibility to ensure that she was sharing the right message and talking about our strategy and supporting our partners even more than she already has been. So it really, that's kind of a first-hand example of how it turned someone around and really got them on board with supporting education and supporting our partners with just a little bit of work on our end. And then the last thing is one of my favorite things that we've done the last few years is we worked with DonorsChoose.org to do a holiday give back, and every employee gets a $25 Donors Choose gift card. And this is the perfect way to really remind people that our focus is on education. It provides another simple opportunity to get involved. We get so many emails every year saying, I've never done this kind of thing. It was really a neat experience for me to participate in this. It makes so much sense given our business and our focus on education that we would do something like this. And I'm inspired to get more involved now. We get emails from people that have gone on to buy Donors Choose gift cards for their entire family for Christmas and the holidays. It really is a nice way to get everybody involved in a very simple way. You don't have to get out and volunteer, but it's kind of a taste of what our corporate social responsibility values are, and it's a real good way to showcase them and get everybody involved at a really low commitment level. So.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, I love the idea of employees purchasing these cards for friends and family and just passing that forward. All right, Samantha, do you want to tell us a little about incentives at Allina?
Yep, so one of the incentives that we do is for every new employee that activates or registers on allina.volunteermatch.org, we provide them with a free Allina Health branded t-shirt. And this is the shirt that we also ask them to wear when they're out volunteering in the community. So if there is an event suggested by an employee, we will get employees the t-shirt so that they can wear so that the community knows that Allina Health is out there volunteering. We also have a Global Fund. So the Global Fund is a program under the Mission Matters umbrella that offers financial assistance to employees who volunteer outside of our service area. So the award is based on the employee's FTE. So if they're a 0.4, they would be eligible to receive $400, and if they're a 1.0, they're eligible to receive $1,000. So employees must apply for the Global Fund before they travel, and a requirement of receiving the financial support is that they must log their volunteer hours on the site once they return. In 2013, we supported more than 140 employees traveling to 27 countries.
Thank you so much. I love that idea of awarding employees for causes that they care about, not just ones that are aligned with your company cause. Awesome. So we do have a few minutes left over for some Q&A, so feel free to go ahead and write into your questions box right now if you do have any other comments or questions. We do have a few that are going to be geared towards just specific panelists today, so I will just pass those forward to the panelists and they can reach out to you individually. So let's just go ahead here and see what kind of questions we have. Great. So we do have a question from Adrian saying, I believe in ambassadors and champions. Congratulations on this. Do your champions roll off the committee, or how do you handle the ongoing of new or exiting of old ambassadors? So any of you panelists that feel like taking that, go ahead.
Well, at Allina Health, so we're a very large company, so we have a community engagement director in each region that knows who their champions are, so they have the clinics in the hospital in that region. So they go and they meet with the champion, and if somebody is moving to another location, we try to find somebody within that clinic that is volunteering, that is a face, that could be like a site medical director, it could be a doctor, it could be a person at the registration. So we try to get to know our employees at the site and see who would be the best person for the volunteer champion role. And then we keep a giant master spreadsheet that we can send communications to. So I don't know if that really answers, but just.
This is Teresa. For us, we do keep in contact with all of our project leads, and typically if they have to resign the position, they let me know, and they are very good about helping me to find a replacement. If not, we reach out through through my network of employees that I know through the Employee Volunteer Council to get the word out to recruit someone else to fill that position.
And this is Lauren. Similar to the other two ladies, our ambassadors really value their role and know how important they are, and so they are so great about helping us find, they know who their key players are within their department, and they're great about helping us ensure we've got the right contacts before they move on. So.
Great, thanks, Dave. We have a few more questions coming through. So the next one, do any of your companies have a VTO program?
And what is that, VTO?
A volunteer time off.
Oh, this is Teresa. Paid volunteer time off? If that's the case, no, we don't.
At Allina, we do not either. We use the Dollars for Doers rewards instead.
This is Lauren. We do. Actually, we give all of our employees 2 paid days off a year to volunteer. And that we use that because we've got such a narrow strategy now, and anything that's company related needs to align with those focus areas. The community service leave is a really good way to still encourage employees to volunteer with any cause that they care about, because they can go take 8 hours every 6 months and really give back to an organization that's important to them.
Thank you. Next question, how do you manage or alleviate volunteer burnout for champions or lead volunteers? Any recommendations?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. How do you manage or alleviate volunteer burnout for champions or lead volunteers? Any recommendations? I'm guessing if champions are feeling like there's just too much work or they're committing too much time, how do you sort of alleviate that, or any recommendations around that?
At Allina, we space out our big spotlight events so they're not back-to-back and everything isn't on top of each other. Like we do one spotlight event in the spring and one in the fall, and then we have like a little giveaway for free bikes for kids in December. So we try to space it, and then we also space it out with our community giving campaigns and other initiatives that are going from executive leadership down. So if there is a big project coming, we try to hold off on the volunteer events, and we do more of tracking like what volunteers are already doing, so we're not piling on additional responsibilities to them.
This is Teresa. I believe that you're going to have a certain amount of volunteer burnout. Managing that burnout goes with the territory. So what we try to do is stay in communication with our employee volunteer council, project leads, and even employees to let us know how we can do things differently. Some employees choose to not continue on, but then there's other employees who are always willing to step up and get involved.
Great. Some other questions we have coming in. What are some incentives for volunteer champions? I'm guessing this has to do with, for example, awards for volunteer champions, any kind of recognition, things like that.
This is Rita. We do the annual volunteer recognition luncheon for project leaders and champions and employees who volunteer their time in the community. There's some raffle prizes during the luncheon. There's recognition through employee communication, as well as, I believe one of the ladies said earlier, they do get first dibs at tickets for various things that are going on in the community, and they really appreciate that. As well as just to send a thank you note to say thank you for supporting community relations and helping us support our community. A lot of employees just like to be recognized in that way. They just, they just like to be acknowledged and to be thanked.
Yeah, I would piggyback off that and say a handwritten thank you note seems to mean a lot more. We polled our employees, and a lot of them like that. We also have an e-spot that we can send to the employee through email, and if their director or manager also receives that letter so that they know, so that they can also do an additional thank you in person with the employee.
Yeah, these are all really great ideas.
Yeah, I was just going to say, same thing for us. The thank you goes a long way, and we find that that's all that it takes quite a bit, and we try to change it up a bit, whether it's a note to their manager, handwritten thank you note, a kind of public recognition on our internal social media network, that kind of thing.
And next question, do any of the companies provide a toolkit or handbook to their volunteer champions?
Yes, we developed a project lead booklet, and that was in partnership with the Volunteer Center of Southern Nevada. They get a binder, they get basically a welcome to the world of being a project leader. At the end of the training, they get a certificate that shows that they went through the training.
And at Allina, we do the same thing. We go out to each site and train the volunteer champion. We have a volunteer champion manual, which includes all the tip sheets about volunteer match, how to be successful in their role, where they can go if they need to create a flyer that follows the brand standards. If you have a large company where your brand standards are already created and you don't want them using clip art or anything like that on certain things. And then we work closely with them to make sure and that they know that if they ever have any questions that they can reach out directly to somebody at the system office that will be able to answer their question. Perfect.
Just a few other ones. These are individual questions, but shouldn't take too much of your time. Samantha, for the Global Fund, is this travel for personal time or volunteer work or
they must? So it has to be when they're volunteering, and they must use their paid time off. So they can't be going on work time, so they must take PTO. And if they want to send me their contact information, I can send them our eligibility requirements, our application, and everything that's involved that has helped us make this program work.
Great. I'll definitely put you guys in contact after the webinar.
Perfect.
And then for Lauren, would you be willing to share some of the types of events that fill up so quickly?
Yes, absolutely. We had one yesterday. We had an event yesterday with a local children's hospital, which I know doesn't generally align with our focus areas, but in Phoenix we've got a few kind of one-offs, just based on our relationships in the community. But I think that any of those hands-on, really, we have a lot of kind of skilled volunteer opportunities that we've got kind of the same people that come to a lot of those things, and they're a bigger commitment. But I think these really fun, big group opportunities fill up really fast. I mean, I think we needed 50 volunteers yesterday, and it was full in 10 minutes with a wait list about 75 people long. So for whatever reason, getting to, kind of the perfect, we try really hard to make them kind of the perfect storm. So it's early in the morning so they can go in before work. It's 2 or 3 hours so they're not using their whole day. It's, on a good day midweek where they're not really on vacation or have a lot of meetings and that kind of thing. So that's one. We do a big thing at the end of the year every year with the Arizona Diamondbacks where they bring in 500 kids from underserved communities to the ballpark, and we provide anywhere between 100 and 150 employees to volunteer and staff that. The kids get new shoes, and players are there and that kind of thing. And it's the things that we do. They're a little flashier. They're also the things that we do consistently. So I think having a few things that you do every year, no matter what they are, and that people can come to count on. I mean, people put the Winter Classic event with the Diamondbacks on their calendar for the next year immediately after they finish the one that they participated in the current year. And they are a month out asking me when we're going to post it, how they can get involved, all of those things. I think it's just setting up some regular, recurring things that can get a lot of word of mouth throughout the year.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. Another question just came in. Many volunteer engagement programs report that more women than men have a tendency to get involved and volunteer. Do you ladies see that in your organizations? If so, is there any advice you could give on ensuring that men feel included and inspired to participate?
We usually do see more women volunteering than men, but these women also bring their husbands with them. And then we also have some things like we do our Free Bikes for Kids event where you're lifting a bike or you're cleaning a bike or fixing a bike. So we kind of try to add something that males would be more interested in, not saying that it's only men that are interested in that, but just giving a different role, like adding an activity that more men would like to do.
And we at Apollo, a couple of things we do see that as well. Definitely lots more women than men. But a couple of things that have worked really well in our favor. We have a number of departments now that are using volunteerism as a professional development tool. So our finance team has a mentoring program that they, pair kind of new finance employees with seasoned people there. But part of that is that they do this big engagement project. And so just by nature of everyone being involved in their whole department getting involved, it really brings a lot of men to the events that they do every year, and it really inspires them to get other men in their department involved, sometimes almost not forcing them, but having teams use it as a professional development tool and making it sort of a required fun thing that everyone participates in. We see a lot more men getting involved and getting their foot in the door.
We do see a little bit more women volunteering than men, but the men are starting to take advantage of more opportunities, specifically when we conduct activities that they're very interested in, like the motorcycle poker runs. We have a lot of field service people that ride on the weekend that participate in that, as well as an event targeted at men. It's called Boys Night Out. It's with a Boys and Girls Club. Men from the company become a mentor for an evening. They play games and they develop a relationship with young men in the community, and we do have a waiting list for that each year. We have about 50 or 60 men that participate in that every year.
Great. Just another question we have here. Are family volunteer hours included in your total volunteer hours for your company?
At Allina, we only log or we only track employee volunteer hours. So even though employee and family are invited to come to our volunteer events that we do, we don't track hours for those.
At Indy Energy, we track both, but we report out on employee volunteerism.
And this is Lauren. We traditionally haven't, if friends and family are invited to participate, but we haven't tracked that with the new volunteer match guest feature. We have been tracking that, but I'm pretty, when it comes time to report at the end of this fiscal year, we will break out those folks and likely not track them, not report them.
Great, thank you. And one last question here before we wrap up. Are there any online resources for those of us interested in developing a handbook or toolkit in our volunteer ambassadors, or would any of the speakers be willing to share theirs with the group?
I would be willing to share Allina's, and I use, just kind of piggybacked off of the volunteer match user guides that once the system got upgraded last April, and then we just added in our things about our program that I'd be willing to share.
And this is Doretha. I would be willing to share information as well.
Me too. This is Lauren.
Great. I'll make sure to connect you guys after the webinar is over today. Great. So it's about time for us to wrap up our Best Practice Network session for the day. I would really like to thank everyone for their thoughtful questions, and to our speakers for doing such an amazing job. As a reminder to everyone on the line, we will be distributing a link to a link of the recording of today's session, along with any follow-up materials. You can also find all of the Best Practice Network webinars on our YouTube page. And BPNs aren't the only way to follow along with what's going on here at Volunteer Match. To stay up to date about upcoming events, news, and trends, I encourage you to visit our Volunteering is CSR blog and follow us on Twitter at VM_solutions. Also, don't forget to sign up for our next webinar coming up on July 9th. This is a special second edition of our hugely popular January webinar, where we looked at corporate nonprofit partnerships from both the corporate and the nonprofit perspective. So make sure you sign up soon. Space is limited. So thank you so much again to presenters and everyone for listening in today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.